I'll say this as plainly and forcefully as I can. Republicans in Congress do not give a damn about our veterans or our service members. They see us as dollar signs. We are nothing but talking points and tokens to be used as political pawns, a reliable vote at the ballot box. And that's especially true, right? Veterans and service members typically vote Republican in large numbers, especially here in Alabama. But why? When it comes to standing up for us, Republicans do the exact opposite. Let me demonstrate how everything you know about Republicans and the military is false. My name is Jeremy DeVito. I'm an Army combat veteran and I'm running for Congress right here in Alabama's 5th District. We're home to almost 100,000 veterans. And in the South, we have the largest population of veterans in the country. So let's take a look at the issues, the rhetoric, and the results of party loyalty based on a myth. These issues should really hit home to y'all, red or blue, left or right. So like I said, Republicans in Congress like to cosplay as the party that takes care of veterans and service members. But they're not. The false narratives, the selective outrage, and the recycled talking points sound good, but when you look just below the surface, here's the play. They thrive on pissing us off, appealing to our emotions. They want a visceral response, and it's been very effective for them. And now that they have our trust in reliably broad numbers, they freely manipulate that trust to undermine our institutions and line the pockets of the wealthy. Let me break it down to you Barney style. Secretary of Veterans Affairs Doug Collins' Project 2025 and the recent plan to close 30 to 35,000 unfilled VA positions shows you the roadmap on what they want for veterans. To have this discussion truthfully, we have to set the record straight. Specifically, let's talk about why the VA healthcare system even exists. The VA healthcare system exists to provide specialized care for veterans. It exists because our injuries, our trauma, and our service are not the same as the civilian population. We are built different. You don't treat combat trauma, toxic exposure, amputations, or service-connected mental health the same way that you treat routine civilian care. There's no OSHA in the military, y'all. And I hate to break it to you, there ain't no airbags in the Humvees either. People get hurt all the time doing innocuous tasks. Everything's made of metal and sold to the lowest bidder. Now, is the VA perfect? No. But here's the truth. In a system with government accountability, outcomes are often as good or better. And now, after 2 decades of war and with an aging veteran population, demand has increased, especially for mental health, chronic illness, addiction, and toxic exposure-related care. So Congress did what it was supposed to do, held hearings, investigated shortcomings, and listened to testimony from veterans. And because of those findings, it passed legislation requiring wait times and staffing levels to be published quarterly, along with expanding the budget and specialized care initiatives unique to today's veterans. They authorized more staff, doctors, nurses, mental health professionals to meet that need. This happened in 2014, and it has continued based on veterans and our demands. This isn't government waste, that's the VA responding to veterans. But since then, Republicans have spent years stigmatizing the VA care by obsessing over wait times and pushing the word choice. Not because outcomes were getting worse, but because if you convince people the system doesn't work, you can justify dismantling it. Choice means privatized. Privatized means money to the failing privatized healthcare industry that can't wait to get a bigger piece of that action. The point is, they don't acknowledge that improvements are even happening. They just keep beating the drum toward privatization and ginning up the base to undermine faith in our earned institutions. Tracking? Let's keep going. Look at what's happening today. As I said before, they want to close tens of thousands of authorized VA positions that are mostly doctors, nurses, and mental health professionals. Those jobs exist because veterans needed care to serve demand, and now they want to pretend those needs have just disappeared. Here's what's going to happen next, and none of this is accidental. The VA will stay understaffed. Wait times will increase. Veterans will be pushed into private care. A private care system that is already overburdened and understaffed. And rural veterans, your hospitals are already at risk of closing, if not already closed. That choice will be taken from you. And then Republicans will turn around and say, see, the VA healthcare doesn't work. It's obviously broken. They'll refer back to wait times and the lack of care and the lack of access that they themselves have orchestrated. That's not failure. That's design. And so what's this really about? What it's always about, money. This isn't about care outcomes for the veterans. If it was, we wouldn't see them trying to disrupt and dismantle the VA from the inside out. Because again, remember, we talked about this. Congress authorized expansions in budgets based on feedback, and things are consistently better since 2014. 20 years of war, hearings, testimony, wait times. Tracking? This all comes down to how much can they squeeze out of a public system and funnel that into private providers and insurance companies? The ones that donate to them the most, the ones they actually work for. What am I saying? I'm saying that to Republicans in Congress right now, the financial outcomes of these lobbying groups is more important to them than the healthcare outcomes of the veterans who fight for this country. They are cashing in on our pain. Let that sink in. Sit with it. Veterans didn't serve this country so corporations and politicians could cash checks on our injuries. We earned a VA that is fully staffed, fully funded, and focused on veterans, not just profit or efficiency. I will support a Veterans Administration that has the veteran and our care and our concerns front and center, a public-private partnership that makes sense to improve access to care but isn't treated as a cure-all. Because we also need accountability in specialized care, and that comes with a strong and well-funded, accountable VA. So the next time a conservative Republican leader in Congress says they support the troops, ask them why they continue to undermine veteran care for unregulated, privatized care. If you can get him on the phone, ask Dale Strong how he plans to staff our new VA clinic he is so proud of if they can't hire new staff. Because the fact is, doctors don't want to work for the VA because this administration undermines science and health research, demonizes federal employees, and constantly demeans veterans in general. So what is he going to do? And I guarantee the words out of his mouth will be privatize and choice. And let that tell you everything you need to know about it.